What's going on, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy.
And Paul.
And we're going to be talking about new Capenna. I feel like these names
Streets
seem
of New
so...
Capenna?
I feel like these names seem so simple, but I'm like, I don't know how to say this name. Okay, overall thoughts, opinions on the set.
I'm excited. I think they went overboard on certain mechanics. We'll get to that later. But otherwise, it seems pretty good. Some of the wording on some cards I feel like they changed templating on. I don't particularly agree with. This seems worse wording. But, yeah.
Are there cards in particular that we're talking about that you feel like that matches? So
yes.
you could give people an example? Okay, cool.
The first card we're talking about is an example of that.
There you go. Yeah, overall thoughts. I think the set's really cool. We are going to a pre-release, which I'm really excited about. And also, I think the multicolored aspect of this set is awesome.
Yes.
It's very Alara-esque, which I love. Alara is one of my favorite sets. Probably in like my top 3, I would say, favorite sets. So I'm really excited about the multicolored. I think half of the cards I'm talking about are multicolored cards because I'm really excited. So we're going to jump in to the first card, which the wording of this is weird. Kind of like what Paul was saying. How do you say?
Giada, Font of Hope.
Font of Hope. Okay, cool. So this card is busted.
2 mana, flying, vigilance, legendary angel. Yeah, that seems great.
To be honest with you, even if they cut the second ability, each other angel enters the battlefield with an additional possible encounter for each angel you already control. If they just cut that and left this a 2 mana 2/2 flying vigilance, then adds at white, spend this mana only to cast an angel spell, I would have been super happy.
Oh, I mean,
but they
this
tacked on that
card
other
is
ability.
great.
This card's ridiculous.
Yeah, the wording of that with an additional +1 encounter is weird because it's a change in templating from the way they've normally done that. I guess it makes sense because if you have multiple effects that put counters on, they all stack, and so for additional. But this would also get the counters even if this is the only thing putting counters on your angels, which is
to our understanding.
Yeah, to my understanding for what I've read elsewhere. But this seems
broken.
Oh, certainly broken. This is not the only broken card we're talking about.
That's true. This card's nutty.
But, yeah.
For 2 mana, this card seems absolutely ridiculous. I'm very excited about this card if I'm reading it. And I also think one thing, too, and I talked about this in another set, is, like, sometimes angels have, like, really high mana cost, so it's nice to have some that just are balancing out. Because, I mean, it makes sense. You have angels, they're these big, powerful things. It's like a dragon, so you don't typically see a lot of dragons that are lower CMC. So the fact that this is, sorry if you can hear that crying cat, is really exciting, so... Cool. All right, you ready to talk about your first card?
Sure. Spiteful Repossession. This is a fun EDH card, I think particularly. This is from the Commander spoilers anyways, so this isn't in the main set. But you make treasures equal to your difference in tokens. I have 2 kind of treasure decks at this point. This would be more for the black-red treasure deck versus the other. But I run fewer lands than most people because I make so many treasures, so everybody else is typically going to have more lands to me, which means I'm going to get a bucket ton of treasures. And there is another card that kind of would synergize with, which I believe is called a Respite, which is 1 colorless, double red, and then for 3, it has a buyback of 3, which lets you copy an instant or sorcery spell. So this could very easily go infinite if I'm either my treasures tap for more than 1 mana, or there's more than a 6 land difference between the 3 other players and me. Would very easily go infinite.
Aren't you running 34 lands in that deck?
I believe I'm running 33
lands. Whoa, that's one.
It might be 34.
Your curve is really low.
It is a low curve.
Have so many treasures,
you would need 11 mana to pull off that combo, which is a lot, but with how many treasures I have, that's 6 treasures and 5 lands, potentially, and that's infinite right there, so that's another win con for that.
I like it. Cool. Okay, next card I want to talk about is Undercover Operative. There's not really like a whole lot to say about this card. We've seen...
What?
I just saw a cat's paw under the door.
She's pulling up your book bag.
Oh, she's pulling. I have my bag on the floor. She's playing with the string. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's 4 mana, 0. You may have it. Enters the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield. I really like the ones that say any creature on the battlefield because I want to put this in Riku, and I don't always have necessarily the coolest stuff to copy. Other people have cooler stuff, so I just want to copy them. And then this shield counter thing I think is actually really interesting. Yeah. It reminds me a lot of the mechanic in Hearthstone. If you've ever played Hearthstone before, I forgot what it was called, but it had like a little shield around it physically. Do you know what I'm talking about? And then it's like it's like you do damage to that, and then it comes off, and then you're free to do it. So I kind of like the shield counter. To be honest with you, I'm surprised it hasn't existed before this point.
It's temporary indestructible, and I guess it's just kind of hard thing to template.
That's really fair, but I think it's cool. I do want this for Riku, and I think it'll be cool. There's a lot of cards that are really similar to this, but this is just another one that...
Normally they've done, like, fate counters or things to do that kind of effect, versus this is now kind of a more obvious mechanic.
That's true. My only wonder is I want to get something that can signify that it's a shield counter. Do you know what I mean?
I believe they're coming out, or they came out with one of the other recent sets, where they have, like, a whole list of all the tokens as like a punch out.
I want to get something cute though.
I feel like that's the other weird thing that they're kind of doing is there's so many different types of tokens. It's now a little bit more complicated to keep track of all of them.
That's fair. I knew you were going to talk about this card.
Bootleggers Stash. Lands you control have tap, create a treasure. This is absolutely bonkers broken.
This is silly.
This goes infinite super fast. You have an unwinding clock. And you make 2 treasure tokens. You can just tap the treasure tokens to untap an artifact land, and then you will have infinite treasures. So that goes out if you're playing any of the cards that win when you have X number of artifacts. Oh, cool! I have 10 lands. Cool, that's game on at the end of somebody else's turn. Just untap everything. Seedborn Muse, untap all your lands. Keep doing that every turn. So this is absolutely broken for treasures. I think they went overboard with treasures at this point.
Wow.
This is and this is in green. Let's play the color that has the most land acceleration, and then give them more mana. Is what this says.
Yeah, I feel like this card should have been red. Honestly.
If this was red or black, I would have absolutely agreed with that.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's weird being green. Green already has access to so much.
Yeah, this is just unbelievably bonkers.
Give them another toy. Yeah, it's very silly. Very silly.
I will be buying one of these for sure.
Speaking of cards we will be buying, I will be buying Arcane Bombardment. Sometimes like you look at a card and you're like, is this card like actually as good as I think it is? This card is as good as I think it is. Okay, I feel like I need to get over the fact that I've said it takes a lot for an enchantment to impress me, because I feel like I talk about enchantments all the time now that I don't think that just is like holds true anymore. This card's crazy. It is 6 mana, which I understand that's pretty hefty. To pay. I think my curve has come down a little bit in Riku, and I've put a lot more acceleration in the deck, so I think it balances out a little bit more. When you cast your first instant or sorcery each turn, what I really love about this in Riku, what I like to do is I like to have like, okay, my turn, and then I want to do things on other people's turns, which is really cool. You exile an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard, then copy each card exiled with it. You may cast any number of copies without paying their mana cost. This card is ridiculous.
And if my understanding of this card is correct,
the wording is a little weird.
If you have no instants and sorceries, you don't get the copies, would be the only downside to this card.
So I think my understanding of this card is, let's just say I have like an opt in my graveyard. I exile it, and then I copy it. And then let's say on someone else's turn, I play, what's like an instant or sorcery that I literally can't think of any.
Just any of the draw spells.
Any of the draw spells.
Scry.
I cast another thing. I then also get to recast Opt.
Yes, but only if you have another card in your graveyard.
Correct.
Because it says exile and then do this. So if you have nothing to exile, you'd fail the target.
Correct.
And then
that's fair.
I don't think it would go, but I'm not 100% I'd have to look at the rules.
I feel like you're doing it all the time. I might adjust my deck a little bit to take out some of the creatures that mana accelerate and some of those things. That way I can put in this and put in more instants and sorceries. This card's bonkers.
Oh, absolutely.
The wording is a little bit jank, but it's cool.
Another of the commander cards for me, Reign of Riches. When it enters, I make 2 treasure tokens, and then the first spell you cast each turn that comes from that has mana spent from a treasure to cast it has Cascade.
This is so cool.
I spend in my treasure deck all of my mana or all my treasures to cast things, which means I'm getting free spells basically every turn, which will in turn get me more treasures, so that next turn I can cast something with treasures to cascade to get myself more treasures, and it's just an endless cycle of treasures.
So it's funny because Paul just built the black-red treasure deck, which we did a deck tag on, right?
I believe so.
Yes. I don't know if you guys have actually seen this deck tag yet. So Yeah, no, I haven't posted this deck tag yet. Okay, you guys are in for a treat. But Paul's also building a 5-color deck, which is themed around what
Academy
did you call
Manufacturer.
it? Academy Manufacturer, which is a silly card.
Which I called it the Academy Factory.
Yep. And so Paul's doing that, and it's like clues, food, treasures, and I feel like I was like, I'm glad you didn't build that deck because you're getting so many new things where your deck would have changed by like 20 cards with all the new stuff that's come out. At this point,
there's so many treasure gens, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna have them both just focus on treasure gen because that's more useful at this point.
I like clues.
The clues are also, so I might keep those. Anything that makes food other than what's his name, the Planeswalker, Oko. I'd keep him in.
That's true, but Oko's just really good.
Yeah.
So there you go. Take 17. Okay, this card I'm really excited about. I just messed up wording of 2 cards, but I'm really hyped about this card, and that is Jetmer, Nexus of Revels. This card's awesome. This is like pinnacle of like cool Naya cards. So, creatures you control that +1/+0 and have vigilance if you control 3 or more creatures. That's pretty easy to do. Creatures you control also get +1/+1 and trample as long as you control 6 more creatures. That is also fairly easy to do with Ream. Creatures you control also get +1/+1 and have double strike if you control 9 or more creatures. That might be a little bit harder for me to get, but
having vigilance, trample, double strike, and +3/+0 for having 9 creatures is absolutely crazy.
Oh, or those stack.
Those stack. That's why it says also.
Oh, wait, that's dumb. Oh, this card's ridiculous. It's also a 4-mana 5/4, which is insane.
Yeah.
This card's absolutely ridiculous. I'm so excited about this card. I'm reading it so
if
good.
You had 9 creatures, this would be an 8/4 with vigilance, trample, and double strike.
That's insane.
That's 16 damage.
That's insane. And then Reen would also get double strike, and so you can kill people with faster with commander damage.
Oh, yeah. And +3/+0.
I'm very excited about this card. Great card.
All right. And then another commander card for me.
Yeah.
I just liked all the commander cards, apparently.
Apparently. I didn't really look at the commander cards very much.
So this is Jolene, the Plunder Queen.
That's a funny name.
Yeah, a pirate queen. Hey, what do you know? I like pirates.
Just the rhyming of that is cute.
Yeah. So this is whenever your player attacks one or more of your opponents, the attacking player creates a treasure token, which, yeah, whatever. And then if I would create one or more treasure tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional one, so free treasure tokens, and then sacrifice 5 treasures, put 5 counters on her.
I also like the fact that whenever a player attacks one of...
I'm gonna move your bag.
Please hold for the next available representative. It's whenever a player attacks one of your opponents, so it's incentivizing other people to attack.
Yes. Well, I sit there and do things with treasures. Yeah, that was it.
Sorry, I thought you were going in more depth with that. It's a good card. Okay, this card is so cool. Rocco. The name cracks me up, though. I'm sorry. Okay, it's an uncommon, and it's an X spell with Naya. I can see out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah, she's got her paw at the door.
I think this is Zelda. She's being very needy. She causes trouble when she's in here. We can't do it. So when this card enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you may search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less, put on the battlefield. Okay, the coolest part about this card in Reen is that it's a 3/1, which I think is actually really awesome because that makes it more vulnerable and easy to die because of the low toughness. So you play this, tutor, it goes into the battlefield, which is awesome, not even to your hands, and if it dies, you just get it back with Reen, and then you can keep tutoring for stuff.
Yeah.
This card's awesome.
You could even kill it yourself if you wanted.
What do you mean?
The only thing is, the cards with Reen, do they go back to your hand? Or
They do go back to my hand.
Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah, they go back to my hand, which is great, and then I just cast this. It dies, and then it casts it, and I'm like, okay, cool, and I need to get this. This card's awesome, and it's an uncommon, too, which is so cool.
Yeah, I was surprised that it was an uncommon.
I agree. And it's like, you're left with a 3/1, which isn't great, but I like that it's vulnerable, because it's like, okay, then it dies, then I can just, do whatever.
Okay, this card's a little out of theme from the rest of my other cards I picked. But this kind of reminds me of Nekuzar a little bit. Kind of Nekuzar light, but it's also in Centriplets colors, which is much more exciting. So it's just 4 mana. Whenever you draw a card, target opponent loses life, and you gain a life, which is just a good ability. I feel like that kind of fits the Centriplets theme that I'd be going for anyway, so yeah. I'm excited for that card. And it's an uncommon. It's a 3/4.
It is very cool. Okay. Next we have, for me, Cabaretti Ascendency. Again, for Reen. I was very happy with the cards for Reen. This set was really cool. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature or planeswalker, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. If you don't, you may put it on the bottom of your library. Now, as long as I'm reading this correctly, what I really like about this is a lot of these type of effects of cards where it's like, if you get a creature card, put it into your hand. If not, put it on in your graveyard or the bottom of your library or whatever. And my thing is like, what if I just want that instant or sorcery on top of my library? I like that this says, if you don't, you may put it at the bottom. So my understanding of this is you can keep it on the top of your library, which I really like. For that reason, I think it's cool. You get a little bit of like
and so you could potentially draw 2 cards.
Potentially, which is really cool. And I have a lot of creatures in that deck, so I think it's really cool. I don't think I have any planeswalkers in that deck, so that's not the point of it. But yeah, this is a cool card.
Yeah, not bad for 3 mana. And then next we have Stimulus Package. It's a 4-mana red-green enchantment that when it enters the battlefield, create 2 treasure tokens, sacrifice a treasure, make a green-white citizen token, a 1/1. So I spend mana, I get creatures, which seems great for that deck, which doesn't run a lot of its own creatures for the 5-color.
You could also go like infinite with this, with like, if you have infinite treasures, if you have something where it's like, whenever you sack something, you get
a treasure or drain of mana.
Drain, that's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah, this could do a lot of damage real fast. And for 4 mana, I don't think it's too bad.
No, I think it's cool. I think the fact that you don't have to tap it to sack is also really good. Yeah, for sure. And I want to talk about these two at the end, so you can go ahead and talk about this card.
So this is Vazzy, the King Negotiator. Its target opponent creates X treasure tokens, where X is the number of treasure tokens you created this turn. Don't really care too much about that. I mean, I might only do it if I create a treasure or 2. But whenever an opponent casts a spell or activates an ability, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it, put a +1/+1 on counter target creature and draw a card.
You can be political with this card.
Oh, absolutely. So it's like, hey, I'll give you treasures. I mean, I made lots of treasures, so here you can have a couple. And then my things get big.
You can be very political. Who wants some treasures? Cool, sack them, and then I'll get +1 counters and draw a card.
And this has haste, so I can do the turn it enters.
That's so good.
Yeah.
This card's really cool. I also feel like what is this Jund color combo? Black, red, green. I feel like we haven't seen as many. I feel like there's some really cool staples in here for the Jund color combo.
Yeah. This is another commander card, so.
Well, I just meant like this color combo. I feel like we haven't seen.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna pick up the commander deck that goes with this because I think all the cards that I liked, all the treasure ones are in this deck. So I might pick it up. Just might end up being cheaper than buying them all separately.
For sure, especially if some of them are only printed like one time, and then it's
all of these are new commander cards.
Well, it's like it's a $20 card, and then it's $40. Might as well. Okay, and the last 2 cards, I think we both wanted to talk about these, correct?
I'm more with one of these ones than the other ones,
okay.
But yes.
Let's go in this order then. The first thing I want to talk about, I don't know what to call these lands. I'm calling them the Sacklands, but these are when they enter the battlefield, sack it. When you do, you tutor for it has to be a basic, and then it's one of the tri-colors.
If they're like the old panoramas.
They are like the old panoramas, but with the panoramas, you have to pay 1 mana to do that. These are literally just straight up for filtration.
Mm-hmm.
Filtration.
No, I thought the panoramas were
filtration. Look, the panorama's right here. Sack it, search your library for a basic whatever, and enters the battlefield tapped. Okay. So these are very similar to the panoramas, but they do enter the battlefield tapped, same thing, and you get to draw a card, which is really, or you get to, gain a life. These are really cool. I'm really excited about these. They're uncommon. Sorry, they're common.
So the other difference is when these enter, you immediately sacrifice, so you can't do this at a later turn. So this just immediately comes in and you get the other land.
But for decks that care about lands entering the battlefield, Omnath in particular, I'm going to be putting these in. These work in a lot of different things, so I'm really excited about these. I think they're very cool.
I think these ones are not bad.
And then the tri-lands.
These I'm more excited. This is the rest of the cycle of tri-lands, which is great to finally get these.
Love these. Love these.
Don't really care about the cycling part. I mean, it's okay late game if you don't need it.
Don't need it. It's like a handy thing to have. To be honest, I more care about the fact that it'll say land. so and so, that sort of thing. That's what I really care about.
All of the Tri-lands this way now,
which is
great.
Very needed. Very needed. I'm very excited about these cards being printed. Yeah.
I think that's it.
That was everything. Those were cards that we're excited for. We didn't talk about everything because that would take a long time. You talked about a couple of the commander cards, which I didn't realize until right before we were filming.
Sorry.
Which is no, that's totally fine. I didn't really look at the commander cards in depth. I think there was probably an additional like Naya card that I probably really liked in there, but some really cool stuff in here.
I'm more excited about that commander deck, to be honest, with the treasures.
That's totally fair.
I'm so excited for treasures, but I think they've gone overboard with treasures now.
It's a little silly.
Our lands make treasures, that's so broken.
That card is really good. I agree. Yeah.
I don't want to... That card might get banned real fast. That's my only concern with that card for EDH. Because it's so broken.
You can get out of hand really quickly, for
that
sure.
Clock of Omens, that an Academy Manufacturer are just absolutely out of the world broken.
People don't really pay attention to Academy Manufacturer, and it's a good card.
I mean, even without it, just Clock of Omens.
Anything
that doubles your tokens, that's infinite mana right there.
It's pretty silly.
Yeah.
But we would really like to know what cards you guys are excited for from this new set. Anything that you're picking up. Are you picking out a box? We're not going to be picking up the box. Paul mentioned getting the Commander set, but we are going to the pre-release, and so hopefully we'll get some cool things at the pre-release, and we'll open up some cool things.
Excited to do pre-release. It's been a long time.
It has been a very long time for us. The last one was before the pandemic, so we haven't done any of the ones. We didn't really care for a lot of the sets that came out through the pandemic. Like aside from we loved Commander Legends. Loved Commander Legends. That was like a perfect set in my opinion. Was it Double Masters?
Yes.
That came out during there as well. We really liked those. But in terms of the core sets, this is really great.
I like the set quite a lot.
Really cool. So let us know what you guys are picking up, if you're picking up anything. And thanks so much for hanging out with us today. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll catch you in my next one.